really pleased with how well we've trained and how focused everyone's been. I think that's on the back of the confidence that we can take from how well we've been performing in recent games, for the good run before Christmas and now in the games since we've returned after the break. So yeah, confidence is high and we're really looking forward to the game on Sunday.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, Celtic are coming off the back of that cup defeat to Rangers. Do you think it's maybe a pretty good time for you to be coming up against them, given that they're coming off the back of a loss where they conceded a very late goal?
No, I think it's a difficult one. They'll obviously be disappointed in terms of the way that they lost the tie at the weekend, but in terms of the team that we'll face, I don't think that'll dent their confidence in any way. I think they're a very confident team. They're also in great form, so we know that it's going to be an extremely tough game on Sunday.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, Celtic have their new manager in as well, and you know, we've had the chance to kind of have a look at her from that game at the weekend and how she wants to play. Does that help you with your prep going into it, having already seen the kind of team that she's put out, the team that she's wanted to play?
Yeah, I don't think there was going to be any sweeping changes as soon as she came in. I think she'll take her own time to get her ideas across and possibly make the changes that she wants to make, if any. But yeah, we obviously watched the game on Friday and we've done our analysis, but we can only prepare for what we've seen.
Yeah, definitely. And how's the squad looking going into Sunday?
Yeah, we're in a good place. We've had a few back training this week that have had knocks and niggles, so it's been nice to have the full complement out there, and we've been able to prepare well for the game.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, Lee, obviously last game 5-1 win over Spartans, which was good, but you know, conceding that goal, how important is it for you personally to try and keep goals out and keep clean sheets and kind of keep the opposition as nullified as possible in that respect?
Yeah, I think it's something that we pride ourselves on as a defensive unit, as a full collective of the team. You know, it starts from our press up top, and you know, of course we never want to be conceding any goals, disappointing in the manner that we did, but you know, I think we're a strong team. We're going to come up against a strong Celtic team, so you know, we're going to need to be at our best in these kind of games. These are the big games that it's the same 3 points, but it matters so much, especially at this stage in the season before we come into the league split. So you know, we obviously, me first and foremost, I need to drive the standards from behind and make sure everybody's in the right place, but of course you never want to be conceding any goals.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, obviously when you come up against the likes of Celtic and Rangers, these are your kind of main title rivals. Is there a different mentality going into it compared to a game against a team lower down in the league, or is it, you know, it's always the same when you're heading into any sort of game?
It's the same 3 points that's up for grabs. Of course, different challenges come alongside that, with different formations and obviously different players that you're playing against, but you know, we're going to be equipped coming up on Sunday here at home, and we want to make sure we've got a big crowd, because games with us against Celtic here have always been really good over the years, and we want to make sure that we can put on a performance that I think has been building over the last few weeks. We've really built a lot of momentum since probably the first week in December, and you know, long may it continue all the way to the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. Good luck.
Thank you.
Leanne, I'll start with you first if that's okay, but first of all, any movement before the end of the window? Do you expect anyone else to come in or anyone else to go out?
Obviously this is a difficult window in terms of players still being tied up and stuff, so we're trying to do some business, but it's dependent on other clubs being able to do their own business first and foremost. So no updates at the moment in terms of any in or out.
What I know we touched on it there, or Lee touched on it there, that you feel as though you're just building a wee bit of momentum. How important is that just at this stage of the campaign? Because obviously we saw in recent seasons that the games between the top three can be really pivotal to the outcome of the title race.
Yeah, of course, when you're playing your closest rivals, as Lee said, it is 3 points for that game as well, but in terms of playing teams that are there and round about you, then it becomes so much more important for us to go and get the points. Games have always been close between ourselves and Celtic. The last scoreline probably didn't reflect how the game went for me, and I've said since that game that I didn't think we were too far away in terms of performance, so that's something that we've looked at since that result and since that performance, and tried to build on and correct.
It almost also seems a bit like the old sort of proverbial 6-pointer, you know, given the gap. I think it's 5 points between you just now. If you to claw that back to 2, you know, it's really game on, whereas if it widens to 8, it'd be becomes a bit more challenging.
Yeah, of course, but you look at how the league panned out last season as well. Like, a lead can very quickly disappear with a couple of results within that split period. So we're coming into a time where the games are going to be hugely important every single weekend or every single midweek. So we need to have the players absolutely focused on going and getting the 3 points every single time we take to the field.
And Fiona, obviously, but you must be thinking that she's maybe needing optimum fitness after the wee break that she had in December. Are you happy with her last week, getting some minutes into the legs and stuff?
Yeah, we had a plan for Fiona when she came in. She obviously had a bit of an extended break over the Christmas period because of when her season finished in Sweden. So it was important that we looked after her and gave her the rest that she needed. But she's been back in, she's now training fully with the squad, and she obviously made a good impact when she got onto the pitch against Spartans. So we're hopeful that we can get a good performance out of her on Sunday as well.
At 28, you're getting her just almost the ideal point of her career. You know, you've got a really experienced player, but who's still got a lot ahead of her.
Yeah, absolutely, and we know exactly what we're getting from Fiona. She made a huge impact in her first spell here at the club, and as you say, she's gone away and she's gained huge experience with her time in Sweden and also with the national team, so we know exactly the player that we're getting when she comes back in.
Is a player like that just so key when you're going into games like this against Celtic and towards the split, when all the games, you know, there's a real focus on the top 6 games? Is a player like this, a big game player, so important?
Absolutely, but it's not just Fiona. In terms of big game players that we have here, that's a shared responsibility within our dressing room, and we've got many players that can go and win this game for us on Sunday.
In terms of your own role just now at City, you know, obviously one of the longest serving players at the club, just how influential are you when it comes to these weeks? Like you mentioned there about building momentum, about the growth and confidence and the run just leading up to Christmas and then in the games since you've come back from New Year. Like, how influential are you in keeping everyone together and keeping the focus?
I think there's a number of players that we have in our dressing room that show great leadership, and it certainly, as Leanne's touched upon, it's shared roles that we've got. Obviously with the likes of having somebody like Fiona Brown coming back, such an elite calibre of player, and she takes on that role as well as Hayley and Joe, and you know, the list goes on. The younger players, they all take the same responsibility and demand the same standards that we do. So as much as I've been here the longest, or one of the longest, I don't think it has to necessarily come down to me. Of course you can use your experiences in these kind of games, but I think as a squad we've got a really kind of well-gelled unit, and a really good group of girls in the changing room that will fight for one another.
Do you feel as though you owed a result against Celtic?
I think we owe ourselves the result. I think if you look back to the last 5 or 6 games, we've played well in spells, but ultimately we've come short at the end of it. But you know, I think if we continue to play the way that we have been doing, we'll get a positive result.
And obviously based in your own backyard, I'd like to see a decent crowd on Sunday afternoon for it.
Yeah, of course. You know, I know a lot of teams don't really like coming to Petershill with the tightness of the pitch, but with that also is the fans are really close as well, so if we can get as many out as possible supporting us, you know, it's always a really close game, so I think it'll be excellent for us to have a kind of sellout as such.
Listen, I appreciate the time from both of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.